Hey friends, you're watching BrainStormAcres. I'm Henry.
And I'm Irene.
We have a few things to talk about today. I got a new part for the lithium battery that we're busy building. And we have a couple of mail calls.
Well, something actually just came in the mail today. We don't get many cards here, so usually we get, right now they're trying to sell us new Medicare plans. But we got a very nice Happy Thanks. That says I should get Issa in from outside.
She's in.
She's in.
Yeah, we know because she was in here before.
Yeah, we scared her out because we didn't want her jumping on us. And she was also bugging Jack. Anyway, we got a very nice card from Suburban Homestead, Wyoming, Arizona. Just wishing us a happy Thanksgiving. So thanks, Sandy. We really appreciate it. It's pretty. Gonna stick it on the kitchen table.
You know, the longer that we stay on YouTube, the more people we get to know. More people get to know us. And we have a nice collection of people who like what we do.
And yesterday we actually met with two of them up in Flagstaff. We've met with them before. And we've been helping them with some greenhouse stuff and all that other kind of things. They've got quite the healthy garden going. So we were trading some information, and Deb Rogers had a surprise for me.
Yeah, we had to go to Flagstaff because you may or may not know that we're having Jack get some special shots for his arthritis, and it really seems to be making a big difference.
Yeah, he's moving a lot better. He's a lot more bouncy and stuff like that. So next week we get to learn how to give the shots, because right now we've been going up there twice a week, and it's about $50 in fuel plus a $50 bill for the vet. Next week we're going to, they said that we could, after we got going for a while, this week they'll teach us how to actually give the shots so we can do it ourselves.
Yeah, so after we had Jack's vet visit, we went over and met with Deb and Bev. Great people.
Deb was busy, and she produced some very cool aprons. She had heard me say that, you know, I had trouble getting good aprons. They just don't seem to make very good ones anymore. And if you find them, either the quality's poor, or they're just so boring. Well, she made a cool short one. This will be great for the summertime when you're trying to wear as few clothes as possible.
As few clothes as possible.
Yes, well, it gets a little warm. But it'll be perfect when I'm doing any kind of pruning and stuff and I need to have a couple different things in my pockets. Or even when, this will be perfect in the greenhouse when I don't want to have a full front apron on when I'm doing things like the tomatoes, because I can have reels in one pocket, clips in another pocket, and a pruning thingy in the other one. So this is going to be great. Very cool.
But that's not the only thing that...
No, that is not. She has been a busy little beaver in the sewing room. So.
They have a fabulous, fabulous sewing.
Yeah, she showed us a picture, and I'm like, I hate you, I'm jealous. But she made two very cool, bright, and cheerful aprons, which are awesome. Look at those colors. Woo! I love bright colors. And as I told her, she managed to come up with all my favorite colors and a very cool two-pocket apron in the front. So this is going to be awesome. This one is a little lighter weight, so that'll be good when it gets hot, like it tends to here in the summertime. And this one is a perfect cheat because it's lined so it's actually reversible. So the front is all kinds of crazy flower colors and stuff. And then the inside is just a slightly more sedate. These are gorgeous colors. So I am thrilled. This is very, very cool. So thank you very much, Deb Rogers. Woo!
And Bev.
And Bev, well, she didn't sew. I checked. I'm like, to whom do I attribute this? But yeah, we had a ball yesterday. We chatted. You know, how many people can you meet with where you can sit there and discuss varieties of broccoli and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And that's what we did. We talked about what we were each growing and our, you know, things we were having problems with and things that were going well. And it was just a lot of fun.
It was.
And the fish was good too.
The chicken was good too.
Yes. And Jack liked the chicken because he had leftover chicken. Jack says, "You're scaring me."
a lot of noise.
Yeah.
You may recall from an earlier show that I said I was waiting on some parts.
Uh-huh.
Well, one of the parts I was waiting on was this battery box. It seems silly that something as inexpensive and as simple as a battery box would slow down a project.
No, I just got a big box of saucers for my 10-gallon pots today. You have to wait for them to come. They were supposed to be here yesterday.
Now, this wasn't made in China. This was made in the U.S.
Ah.
Other products like this are made in China and they're shipped here, but this was from the U.S. I just had to wait for them to come in. But it's here, and the battery project gets restarted again next week. So if you've been following along on that, you don't want to miss those shows next week.
We've been waiting for a bunch of stuff. We have a Berkey water filter for our drinking water here.
Yeah, what that does, it has several very fine filters that will filter out most disease-causing organisms.
One of the problems, like, we don't normally use rainwater for drinking, but one of the problems with using rainwater for drinking is if you have birds that poo on your roof and then you're collecting water off the roof, there's always the chance that pathogens that are in their feces could get into your water. And the Berkey is one of those filters that'll take that sort of stuff out. We don't usually have any issues with that. There have been some delivery people in the past who were less than sanitary in their habits. And rather than always hitting things with Clorox, which you can do to sanitize, in fact, I would recommend every homesteader have a bottle of Clorox on the shelf, even if you don't use it for cleaning. It's always there as an emergency backup. You can take a muddy puddle practically and turn it into something drinkable.
Yeah, so what you want is an unscented
no
chlorine
lemon flavors or something.
You want an unscented chlorine-based bleach.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what brand. We prefer Clorox because it's a reliable and consistent brand. We have some that's unscented for all manner of purposes, including we do shock our water tanks periodically. So there's a lot of things like this that you need to get prepared for when you're going to live off-grid or you're going to live in alternative living arrangements.
Right.
It's not something we're going to go in right now today, but if you want to hear more about it, put some notes down in our comments and we'll add it into the shows that we're going to be doing.
Right. Well, the reason I brought up the Berkey today was we have been waiting for
more than a year
for a new part for our Berkey. We wanted to get what they call a sight tube. When you have a Berkey, you know what the volume of water that goes into it is, and you're putting the water in the top and then it's coming out the bottom. But this is stainless steel. You can't see through it. And you don't want to have to lift off the top. So what you wind up doing is letting the stuff run out. And it'll always run out at the most inopportune moment, of course.
It does. Yep.
You're trying to fill the kettle because you really need a cup of tea or coffee, and there's not enough water in there to do that. So we've been waiting for over a year for a sight tube, which will be a tube that's on the outside that will show us what the water level is in the Berkey.
That just allows us to know when we need to put some more water in it to filter.
Yeah, it's less of a problem in the wintertime than it is in the summer because our water consumption is lower in the winter. But on the other hand, sometimes we do boiling more things in the winter that we might want to actually have cleaner water for. I won't say a game changer, but it'll be really nice to not be twitching quite so much about
It's not going to be a game changer for sure, but it's definitely going to make life a lot easier.
Just to be able to glance and know where the water is, and should you throw in a gallon of water now, or can you wait till tomorrow, or do you need to throw in 2 or 3 gallons of water because it's that low? So it'll just be a nice thing, and it finally came in today. So now we have to wait for our water to get low enough, which will be soon, and then I'll be able to take the whole thing apart, reinstall that, and start her back up again.
I may just take the water out of there, pour it into a big pot, take the sight gauge, put the sight gauge on, and pour the water back in the top. One of the interesting things about living in an area that has old Route 66 on it is we see all manner of interesting vehicles going along through our town and other parts of old Route 66.
Well, there's a couple in the summertime. There's several tours that come through the area of old cars, and that is so cool. And some of them are not so super old either. Like there's a Mustang group that comes through,
and there's a Corvette
a Corvette group that comes through. But you know, if you happen to be driving down 89, here comes like 150 antique Corvettes or something like that, and it's just, you're like, wow, that's cool.
So,
you know?
so this week was fun because I was in at the service station to pick up more stuff from one of our suppliers, and I saw an old school Studebaker. It was gorgeous.
By definition, all Studebakers are old school. Anyway, it was a really pretty one. And so you were able to get some good pictures of it.
Well, I got some pictures. I don't know how good they are. Well, it's about time to wrap this show up, but I do want to talk about very briefly about what we're seeing on the shelves at the stores that we're going to, both big box and smaller stores, and what we're seeing actually there. So both what we're seeing missing and what we're seeing there. I got a big surprise this fall because I was looking for turkey for Thanksgiving, because I always cook a turkey for Thanksgiving, and it's usually a pretty big one.
Yeah, we make a monster turkey. I mean, none of these 10-pound turkeys. That is a waste of time.
And I was looking and looking and looking, and I talked to the butcher at a couple of stores and said, "Hey, when are you getting turkeys in?" And they said, "We're not sure. It's not on our list. It'll come in or it won't come in, but we don't know." And I went in one day when turkeys actually came in, and it wasn't a whole load of them. Normally, they'll fill up an entire freezer case with turkeys. I went in, there were about 8 or 10 turkeys. That was it. So what was actually going on is we're having starts and stops with food coming in. The first turkeys that came in were off-brand. Then it was several weeks with nothing in the store whatsoever.
Right, just an empty case. And a lot of people twitching because they were concerned about whether they were going to get a turkey or not. Now I'm seeing a steady dribble. Like you go in the place, the case will be empty, but then the guy will come running out from the back and he'll have a small batch of them. I think pretty much anybody who wants a turkey will get it at some price. I mean, some of the prices are pretty high.
Now, what else have you noticed that was missing in the shelves?
A lot of pasta's missing. Yesterday I was able to get some of the noodles we like, but they didn't have a bunch of the other stuff. And that's very spotty. Sometimes you go in and there'll be nothing. And then sometimes you go in, I'm starting to see Barilla come back in. What else am I not seeing a lot of? They're trying to keep the shelves full, but they're putting weird things on the shelves just to so sometimes you'll see things you've never seen in the store before, or off-brands. Some of the off-brands are perfectly fine. It's like us being reminded of American Beauty. There's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly good pasta, and we have a whole stack of those noodles. In fact, I bought another bag of them because we like to be able to have just, the noodles are there, and sometimes you make the broth, and then if you decide you want chicken noodle soup, throw in some fresh veggies from the garden, throw in some of those noodles, cook it till everything's tender, and you got dinner.
So the big thing that I've noticed, and I noticed today when I stopped to pick up a couple of things, a lot of the grocery store shelves have one set of cans or jars at the front of the shelf,
Right,
and there's nothing behind it. In fact, our local supermarket, 20 miles away supermarket, relayed out the entire store. They cut out one entire aisle of food.
Right.
So they reduced the number of
shelves they had to fill up.
But it was really unique going in today because I saw an entire set of shelves that were about 6.5 feet tall or 7 feet tall. From floor to ceiling, they had one single can of a snack chip. They were lined up along the front, and when you looked behind it, there was nothing there.
Yeah,
so it's 4 feet long, and
even at Walmart yesterday, there were a lot of sections in the store that were like that, like the cracker department. I had to kind of scrounge around to find out what we were looking for, and I was very excited because I did find it, so I bought 2 boxes. There were big sections that were empty, And I think that's pretty much the way it is. I mean, you're not going to starve to death, assuming you can afford to pay the bills, but you definitely will not necessarily get exactly what you wanted. And if you're one of those people who can only tolerate one brand, I suggest you broaden your horizons.
Yeah, we're not big doomsday sayers or anything like that. But what I do want to say is that you might really want to seriously consider having a little more stock on hand of those things that particularly matter to you. Definitely give some thought to what you're going to do. Thanks very much for watching today, because it was a mishmash of things to talk about.
Yeah, well, the whole week's been that way, so it just makes sense that our Friday roundup sort of video that we're putting together should be that way.
Yeah. So this week I drove 374 miles since Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So in 3 days, almost 400 miles. Mm-hmm. That's 2 weeks of lots of miles.
Yes, we're hoping to stay home some more this week. And limit going anywhere to pretty much going to town. Mm-hmm. We have one more shot up to. We have to go on Wednesday to learn to give Jack shots.
And get his prescription.
And hopefully, if there's anything we need, we'll be able to find it. I don't know that we need anything, but, you know.
Say goodbye, everybody.
So, until next time, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because we have a lot going on. We really do. I'm actually hoping for a day off in here somewhere.
No, you can't have one.
I don't think I can. But I've got homework to do tonight, because I've got a class tomorrow. Fortunately, it's just paperwork, so. Because I don't want to have to go start the kiln up and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Say goodnight, Irene.
Yeah. So, until next time, bye.
Bye. Keep brainstorming. She does.
I got lists.